So from the review sheet, problem number 4, we have A and B. I'm going to go through both of these here. So again, factoring and solving with zero product property. You may notice on this one that there's a greatest common factor of 2, so I can factor that out. If you are factoring and doing zero product property does not need to be completely factored to work. So if you did not do this one and did not factor out the greatest common factor, you still should get the same answers. I'm going to go through and factor it completely, so I'm going to take that 2 out of everything. So that means I have x squared plus 4x minus 5 equals 0. Again, if I would distribute, I should get the original problem. So I just divided each term by 2. And my factor of 2 then is on the outside. Then I need to factor this, x squared plus 4x minus 5. So with that, generic rectangle, diamond problem. My factors on the sides of that multiply a negative 5 but add to 4 are positive 5x and negative 1x. That gives me an x, and a 5, and a negative 1. So my factors now for this problem, I have 2 times x plus 5 times x minus 1 equal 0. So, zero product property. I don't use this one for my zero product property because I don't have an x involved. And if I set that factor equal to 0, 2 equals 0 doesn't make any sense. So I don't worry about that one. But my other factor of x plus 5 equals 0, I can solve that one. That's x equals negative 5. And my factor of x minus 1 equals 0, I can solve that one and get x equals 1. So my answers to this first problem are x equals negative 5 or x equals 1. So if you go through and factor this one without taking out your greatest common factors, you have 2 possibilities. You will either get 2x plus 10 times x minus 1 equals 0. And if you solve this one, 2x plus 10 and x minus 1, both of those equaling 0. When I solve the first one, I get 2x equals a negative 10, and when I divide, I get x equals negative 5, which is the same answer as that. This one is the same as that one, so I get my answer of negative 1, or a positive 1 rather. So no matter what, I get negative 5 and x equals positive 1. Okay, so the other possibility, if you did not factor it completely, you would have x plus 5 times 2x minus 2 equals 0. The x plus 5 is the same as this one, so you'll get the answer of x equals negative 5. And if I have 2x minus 2 equals 0, I'm going to add 2 to both sides and divide by 2, and I get x equals, again, a positive 1, which is the same here. So whether you factor completely and do your zero product property, or when you're doing zero product property, if you do not factor it completely, you still get the same x-intercepts. Looking at problem B, I have x squared plus 12x minus 28 equals 0. So I'm going to go through again and do my generic rectangle. This one does not have a greatest common factor. Top of the diamond problem. Bottom of the diamond problem. The top one is negative, so one of these has to be a negative. The bottom one is positive, so when I look at these 2 numbers, the larger one has to be the positive. That is going to give me a negative 2x and a positive 14x. Those will multiply to negative 28, but add to 12. So those go in the open boxes. Right here, I take an x out of both. X times x, x times 14, and x times negative 2. So my factors are now x minus 2 times x plus 14 equals 0. Zero product property. I set up my two problems, and I get x equals positive 2 and x equals negative 14.